begin. Psalm 119. Lord, let your love come upon me, the saving help of your promise, and I shall answer those who taunt me, for I trust in your word. Do not take the word of truth from my mouth, for I trust in your decrees. I shall always keep your law forever and ever. I shall walk in the path of freedom, for I seek your precepts. I will speak of your will before kings and never be abashed. Your commands have been my delight. These I have loved. I will worship your commands and love them and ponder your will. And so we pray. Father, let your salvation come to us, as you have promised, that we may keep your law always, and taught by the word of truth, find strength in his salvation. Amen. Today is the 3rd of January. It's 2022. Welcome to the Early Rise. I'm Ronnie Thwaites. Later on, Pearnel Charles Sr. will join us. This is a program of free discussion. We look at the affairs of the nation. We try to relate them to the life of our people in the diaspora all over the world. We broadcast at this hour of the morning so that people in different time zones can pick us up. The crucial purpose is to engage people, Jamaican lovers, all over the world. It's something that's an ongoing issue. We don't really want to tell you the news and have you hear our views. We want to hear from you too. The broadcast for the last couple of weeks of the year involves some interesting conversation of people of Jamaican origin, of Jamaican commitment better, who were telling us of their abiding concerns, the life that they lead, the challenges that they have, the opportunities that life abroad brings. So the diaspora and the rock are one, and we intend to keep it that way, to enhance it. Thanks so much for being part of the Bridge Nation by tuning in to the Bridge 99.13579 on the FM band. And remember, you can watch our live stream at www.thebridge99fm.com, wherever you are in the world. Want some phone numbers, some coordinates, happily? The studio line is 876-676-4996, and the WhatsApp and text line is 876-551-5782. The new year dawns pretty much as the old year ended, but with hopefully a surge of hope and enthusiasm, eh? Let's tell you the weather report for the day. Set you straight. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica forecast for today, Monday, January the 3rd, reads as follows. This morning, we can expect partly cloudy conditions across eastern parishes. It will be mainly sunny elsewhere, and this afternoon will be partly cloudy across hilly areas. A weak high-pressure ridge is moving across Jamaica, and so this afternoon a weak trough will also move across the island, with the ridge expected to rebuild across the island by midweek. What does that mean? Some more rain? Hopefully, a little rain, gently, every day. That's what the farmers need. That's what the water supplies, how the water supplies are refreshed, eh? There you go. As I read the weather report, I don't know if all of you saw it, but there was a remarkable sunset on Friday night, New Year's Eve. It was so colorful. Now remember, in Jamaica, we don't have much twilight, you know. It's a quick transition from day to night. But New Year's Eve was special. It was as if there was this remarkable concatenation of orange and gray and blue, and the darkness of night gently superseding all of that. It was a slow goodbye, but it was a triumphant one as well. It had spiritual dimensions, poetic distinction, I thought. So there, that's the beauty of our land, you know. That's the Garden of Eden in which we are placed. Thanks so much for being with us today. It's back to school day for many people all over Jamaica. I think of you in the strong places of New York, of London, of Birmingham, of Toronto, wherever you are, British Columbia, and you've sent back stuff for your children, your grandchildren, those who you want to help to go back to school. It's a great day in my view. A difficult day for many, but a great day. Yeah, and every person in Jamaica, every parent, Everyone who has anything to do with any picnic must make sure they go to school. Yeah. Don't hitch. I hear some parents are hitching. Is it going to be safe? I hear some teachers are hitching. Not surprised at that. Yeah, but in all events, we're not cussing anybody. We're just saying we've been out of school too long. Every school can make some arrangements, even on a rotational basis, to have their children back face to face. Okay? I'm not going to say anything more about the virtual learning. You've heard my views on that for a long time. Okay? We have a whole heap to catch up with, and more than even the subjects that we need to brush up on. There is the manners, the behavior, the discipline, the order of the school day that only face-to-face can really deal with, you see? No matter how stush your home is and how big the screen of your tablet is. We need to be together. We need to mix with our friends. We can do so in a careful way. We need to hear the teacher's voice, to feel their touch. All of that is quite possible. COVID can't cope that, not even Mrs. Omicron. Okay, so back to school today. You should have seen the cars on the North-South Highway yesterday. The whole reorientation of people's social life that back to school and back to work really mean. Yes, and that's good. Wrenching for some, inconvenient for others. Yeah. Don't underestimate what being away from the normal routines of life for 21 months means. Yeah. It's a major thing. You can't just get over it, but at the same time, you can't pander to it and go on like you're weak and everything changing. You can't manage again. So a bit of strong character has to come to play today and for the rest of this week, and indeed for 2022. Hello. Yes, after the hope of a reasonable start back, the Omicron is going to be affecting the revival of the tourist industry. Did you hear the Center for Disease Control in the United States, which is a very probative and reliable institution, saying over the weekend that even if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't go on any cruise because it's a perfect infection site. Well, I don't know how many people will follow that, but they should. And then that has an effect on what happens in Falmouth, in Ocho Rios, in Montego Bay with tourism, you know. And many people who use other modes of travel and recreation will have the same response. And therefore, the restrictions too will affect the travelers. So I don't think it's going to be as smooth and as quick a revival as we have been hoping for. And that's a dip and fallback of this virus, huh? So let's deal with it. No need to get angry with one another. It's hardship for many. It's disappointment for all. But let's deal with it and adjust as best we can. I am hoping that this is the occasion, you know, for that shift in our economy and in our lifestyle that some people have been talking about. I remember the Minister of Finance saying he doesn't speak loudly often, and that's good. But he was pointing out the weakness that we have in that we depend too much on one or two industries to carry our economy. And it's your and my economy as well as the national economy, you know, it all adds together. Well, you know, it's something I want to discuss with Pearnel, but I had the occasion over the past weekend to drive through St. Thomas over into Portland and come back around to Kingston by Junction. It was nice. Nice except for two things. One, they mash up the road. The intention is to fix it back better. But why did you have to scarify the whole of the road and make it very, very difficult, torturous? Nothing relaxing about it at all. In fact, an obstacle course the whole way from Bull Bay right around to Drapers. Come on, man, you couldn't do it in stages? As bad as it was, it's made much, much worse now. Some very, very inadequate planning there. I'd like to hear more. Yeah, and the other thing, perhaps even more, because the road thing is temporary and you can avoid going there. But the thing is, you drive now, and I went off the road, the main road in many instances. There is very little agriculture going on. Yes, the fields of cane, the fields where you used to see small farmers producing the food that could come to Coronation Market in Kingston and go elsewhere. The truth of the matter is that it appears to be much less. You have a whole heap of what is fertile land and what used to be highly cultivated land, and it's up in bush. You can't have prosperity through bush. And secondly, you can't feed yourself unless you're cultivating the land in a modern scientific way. That has to be the emphasis. The editorial in the Gleaner this morning asks why, or suggests that the Jamaica Agricultural Society should be disbanded. Well, that's a subject for another program, eh? That's a major issue. The strength of the farming community, how it organizes itself traditionally and how it should now. But if we do not emphasize food production in Jamaica, we are going nowhere. If you have to depend on another man to feed you, as is now the case, yeah, you are never going to be free, and you're never going to be able to really handle your budget right. That's a major problem. It's related to going back to school, because what are the school children going to eat today? What local produce do we have to feed our children? Yes. The little porridge where you get them come from abroad, except it's banana porridge or plantain porridge. Yes. Even the cornmeal have to come on ship. Yeah. And then the lunch. Yes. The breakfast is needed, and the lunch, both in the schools, provided. Insist that little children get accustomed to eating well in the morning so they can take in the lessons. We spend about $8 billion on school feeding, and I'm wondering if it's spent right. I'm wondering if the children are getting food that is good for them rather than just the cheese sticks and bag juice. I don't defend that. Too many people have you abroad, the parents and the grandparents, and send home my money, and I dat it by. That can't help you. That can't help your head to take in what school gives you. Empty bag can't stand up. You can't learn on empty stomach, huh? So these are things that all hang together. What I say? Everything is everything? Yeah. So the condition of the cultivation in St. Thomas and Portland are very important, connected to school feeding, connected to the general well-being of the country, connected to the prospects of export of our foodstuffs, which so many people are very anxious to get abroad and can't get. Imagine $3,000 Jamaican for one breadfruit in Canada. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. We need to be doing much better than that. So we have some New Year lessons to earn. Yeah. More on the schools. Although concerned about the rise in COVID-19 infection numbers locally, and really they're gone up. When I hear 700 infections a day, and the next day, yesterday is 500 plus, and the positivity rate up into 35%. Thank God the hospitalization not increasing same way. Some argue, that if the COVID kind of mild, and most of us get it, we might have, plenty of people still won't take the vaccination, but they will build up the herd immunity by getting the disease. If you want to take that chance, you go on, but not me. I will help myself with the vaccine, yes, and if we can still get it, I know it will affect me less, and may recommend that all take up that too, yes. So many of the island's principals are happy that their students will be able to return to their physical classrooms starting this week, although the 11th hour announcement last week has caused some anxiety. Oh, you give such short notice. Minister of Health, Minister of Education, you're talking to each other, please, sir, ma'am. Acting Principal at St. Thomas Technical High School, Mr. Morgan, has fully endorsed the push for the resumption of face-to-face classes today. Even though his school has not yet been approved to resume classes, I wonder why. His staff are implementing measures to adhere to the physical distancing guidelines. Mr. Morgan has added that, quote, all schools in Jamaica right now are looking forward to engaging in face-to-face based on the fact that some students have not been engaged since online school has started. Yeah. So the school officials are now articulating that which some of us have been saying for a long period. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? Mr. Morgan at St. Thomas Technical High School, enough respect, sir, but what are you going to do now about the effort to remediate those students. Simply putting them back in school and starting back their lessons, not going to work, you know. Okay? That can't work. You cannot build a superstructure of excellence and enablement on what the hymn says, shifting sands. You can't do that. So we have to remake the foundation of behavior, of basics, okay? Read the Professor Orlando Patterson report on the transformation of education. 17% of all primary school students are not in school because of difficulties of lunch money, transportation, and you know what he says oddly? And boredom. Boredom. So what does it, the school can be a playground or a dance hall site, you know, but there has to be a way of communicating education, of relationship between the teachers and the students that is interesting. It won't always be, but that's an interesting comment that I think needs much examination and interrogation from that report. And then Professor Patterson says another thing that is extraordinary. He says that in 2018, that's only 3 years ago, you know, going into 4 now, 70% of the students leaving school in grade 11 had no certificate, whatever. So how that go? After 12 years of school? So we have to look at some very, very important changes. And I don't see the discussion being sufficiently focused on what those will be. You can speak about putting literacy and math specialists, but the fact is we don't have enough of those. And how they operate even when they're there to deal with each of the children's deficit is going to be a very exquisite problem. So I big up the teachers and the administrators, people like Mr. Ricardo Morgan of St. Thomas Technical High School, Mr. Lindburn Wright, and all of the others who are trying so hard to bring straight thinking onto the education system. With the learning loss being a key concern, as only 65% of the students, just using St. Thomas Technical as an example, have been reporting to classes online. That's 45%, not into the classes at all. And even of the 65%, who said they stay the whole time and who said they pick up all that is being communicated over the vicariously, virtually. Mr. Morgan says that an assessment of students is needed to determine how to proceed with the curriculum. Well, I gave my suggestion for what it is worth. We had better stop and do over the year. We have lost too much. We need to do over the year. Yeah. Well, that is not happening. So therefore, you have to do the next best, which is to try and catch up within the matrix of continuing the curriculum as appropriate. There are some children who were going into grade 7 in 2020 who have not seen the inside of their schools yet. Okay, 1 year later. And they're going to be promoted to the next grade when they don't even know where the bathroom is. Oh, Lana, what nonsense is that? There are some grade 1 students who would have started school September 2020. 1 year and 4 months ago now, who have not been in their school yet. But you're going to put them into grade 2 when they don't know the first teacher name? Good. How'd that go? So we have to be very, very careful of how we deal with it. And it's not it ought not to become a political issue. From 2004, Mr. Patterson and Mr. Siaga, of blessed memory, made the decision that education had to be beyond the partisan politics. My view, and I think shared by Pearnel, is that the partisan politics needs to be submerged in a number of other areas, including education, beyond education, okay? That's why we come and do what we do on the bridge. But at the same time, it is critical that we ensure that the necessary measures of the education system are clear and are beyond any kind of scrapping on the basis of it's not my side putting it forward, okay? Read the editorial of the Observer yesterday, yeah? It calls out some immature politicians. Well, none of us are beyond reproach, but it is extremely important that we recognize the value of unity at this time. When you are in the diaspora, and you buck up a Jamaican, when you're in one of the diaspora organizations, deal with who is labor right and who is comrade, You deal with who is Jamaican. Hey, so we have to do that here too. You want a break on the bridge? It's coming up to 27 minutes after 5 o'clock on Monday morning. Soon come. Good morning, sir, and Happy New Year.
Good morning, good morning. It seems as if it was from last year that I never saw you.
Well, you see that now? We've been separated for a long time, but I noticed you should hear the chief singing, His singing voice is worthy of greater exposure on the bridge, don't you think?
I hate to say that I used to do these things.
Really?
And because somebody else said, everything Ronnie said, you say, you used to do it. So when you were talking about St. Thomas Technical,
yes.
That school was...
Of course, it was part of the constituency. You represented.
While I was there.
Yeah.
And when it was open, Ronnie, I visited. And probably 2/3 of the black boys like me had brown hair.
Oh.
I said, but what is so special to St. Thomas that these black children have brown hair?
Brown hair, what is it?
So I went to Dr. Gilmore, who was Minister of Education.
Right.
I said, I have a special thing to tell you. All my black children have brown hair. She said, I have a special thing to tell you.
Yes.
They need a medical.
They need a medical report.
And she said that they were lacking in a certain type of protein.
Okay.
And she corrected it through the cake, whatever it is.
School feeding program.
School feeding program.
Yeah.
And a few months after that, I lost the sight of the brown hair.
Well, no, but that's important because that emphasizes the kind of skill that you need, that you employ the science in order to be able to deal with a problem.
Yes.
Secondly, it might have been seen as having other causes, but you zeroed in, and Dr. Gilmore was able to zero in on the real cause.
Yes.
And then to use the school feeding program, that is a most underestimated and undervalued element,
Which is so wrong.
Yeah.
Because so many use protein, this protein, that. This vitamins of XY was put together so that when the children get it, what they weren't getting at home, medically and otherwise, would have been coming to them through the school feeding program.
But you see, I wanted to challenge you because you have been a member of Parliament successively in two largely agricultural constituencies. In St. Thomas and in Clarendon.
Yes.
I haven't been to your area of Clarendon recently, but as I mentioned earlier, I went through St. Thomas over the weekend and looking at historical sites, very interesting, undervalued parish. But very little agriculture is going on, sir.
Well, Ronnie, can I give you a few minutes to tell you something?
Yeah, man.
Eastern Banana, we had one of the largest banana project. I think we were 3,000 workers because the sugar was down.
Yeah.
And the hurricane came and blew the banana down. They had enough insurance to put it back.
Yeah.
Took on a few more workers, put it back. Hurricane came again and blew it down.
But that's the story of bananas, sir.
Hold on. And the management decided that it's going to come and blow down every year, so they're not going back. So I went to Cabinet, and I said to the Prime Minister, could you give them, maybe it was $50 million, could you give them, guarantee them that if the hurricane come next year, you will pay them, government will pay them, because we have 3,000 workers there.
Yeah.
They didn't. Guess what happened? No hurricane come 2-3 years after that.
The banana was down.
And the banana went.
Yeah.
So they divided the land into people who want to own a piece of land.
Yeah.
They start to work it.
Yeah.
Now, when I heard you, I said, Ronnie, it's not easy.
No.
The 2-foot post prevent the 2-foot farmer from working. They burn down hundreds of acres of cane just to let go them goat. They let go goat 4 o'clock in the morning to eat down everything you have. 7 o'clock in the evening, and the goat go right and eat. So
we are the architects of our own misfortune?
Well, let me tell you something. I started to shoot the goats. And my daughter came to me and said, Daddy, I'm having a problem. Because you're shooting my voters and my supporters goat.
Yeah.
And they say they don't want to see me, don't come to me, okay, your father kill off my goat.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the politics of it,
Yeah.
I just closed my hands.
Yeah.
Cane burned down.
Yeah.
Banana burned down.
Oh.
I planted cassava, acres and acres.
Yeah.
Finish. They eat it down. They burn it down.
So with this raises a number.
And so you go to my property now.
Yeah.
All of it bush.
No.
I'm cultivating bush.
No. There's no prosperity that can come out of that.
And the taxman came to me and said, you have to now give up your farm tax.
Yes.
Because you're not planting.
Discount.
I said, sir, I understand that. But how the hell can I plant when they organize with the goats to stay in the pen until 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
and they go there and they eat for 2 hours and come back in the pen, and they go early morning. And so if you go early morning, they switch with you.
So what is,
No, that's not the only problem.
Yeah.
Because one of the major persons was Jones.
Yes.
You know, he had planted hundreds of acres of coconut.
Yeah.
I had coconuts too. The yellow.
Oh yes, the disease.
Disease destroy every coconut. I have about 5 coconuts on my farm, right? And Jones lost thousands of coconuts. The only man in St. Thomas, and I wish to give him credit. Michael Black.
Not survival.
And I say, Michael, how the hell can you have so many coconut trees and we can't keep one? You know what he does? He examined every coconut tree as there is a brown spot. He takes it down.
I see.
He takes it down and put in a new coconut.
So it can't infect.
And today he has the only good coconut farm in St. Thomas.
But then, so we have to find a way, that we can overcome those things, because the consequences are they're just anarchy and poverty. Here you have really fertile land. I stood up at the Stokes Hall Great House, the ruins, over the weekend and looked over that whole plain.
Yeah.
And it's just as you described it. There's very little evidence of what is the lifeblood of Eastern St. Thomas, and you carry it over right into East Portland as well.
I saw them distributing lands, and I say, a man say he was working with a sugar factory, so he gets 2 or 3 acres, of lands. I say, that is the wrong way. Look at 1,000 acres of land and say, look, we're going to distribute to X amount. We are going to plant pumpkin and 500. If you are not a pumpkin farmer, you can't get. If you are going to plant melon, you're not a melon farmer. If you give a man 2 acres of land and tell him to plant what he wants, and put like a coconut here, so, like a banana here, so, you understand? And after two years, I'm gone. There's no management of what is to be planted on these properties. You give the man land, so you say, why my government give out 2 acres to each man? Waste of time.
But then, tell me now.
And look at the last thing.
Yes.
Most people only want land in others in their own land, and then sell it. Now you can't sell it. So what happened? You leave it.
Yeah, but that is a problem that applies to land, even when it is used for houses, for residences. It's at the bottom of the squatting phenomenon, which we better face during this year. Yeah. I know Pearnel Charles Jr., the minister, is trying to develop a policy there. But unless, this may sound strange coming from me, but unless you avoid the moral hazard, you're not going to be able to solve any of these problems. If a person is living in a place, if a person is given a piece of land by leasehold or whatever, if they do not stick to the terms of the agreement, they must move, sir.
You should take back the land.
You have to take it back. But politically, is that possible?
Well, before I answer the politics, let me correct something I heard somebody just say a while ago in the bedroom.
Yes.
And I don't want to apologize, just want to explain. Yeah. What I have said is not for all farmers.
No. Okay.
There are several farmers who have done well with the 2 or 3 acres they have.
Yes. Small
and
farming.
Still doing the plant. There's like a sorrel, they plant this.
Sure.
But
there's a story of a lady in the papers this morning about how she raised 5 picnic and sent them to good school on the basis of roast breadfruit.
And I know that when you read that, you remember the breadfruit tree that I told you
Yes,
about Moko,
yes.
when the woman was saying, 3 picnic at school.
Look at that. I did remember.
But I think you made a mistake, so let me correct you.
Yes, sir.
I don't care what you want to tell me when I correct you. You're dosing a breadfruit for $3,000 at $300. No breadfruit is being sold in Jamaica for $3,000.
No, you misheard me. It's not in Jamaica. It is the equivalent of what it's selling for in Toronto.
You mean Well, that means I'm not the only one who misheard you.
Thank you for correcting that. But the point still remains: how breadfruit can sell for $150 or $200, roast breadfruit $300. Yes?
Yes.
And we can put sufficient of them in one box and send it to Canada.
You know, there is several types of profession.
Yeah.
There's a farmer.
Yeah.
There's a person who transferred from the farmer to the exporter.
Agro-processor.
And from the agro-processor to
exporter.
Now, who is wrong, I don't know. But all I know is that breadfruit will drop off a tree sometime because nobody come to buy or to sell to them.
Yes, sir.
And so the man in Canada cannot get the breadfruit.
Yes, sir.
Because the connection
is not there.
So when I listen to our Canadian friend, I get excited.
Yeah.
Because the same thing was happening to mangoes. And young Floyd Green, whatever I want to say.
I say good.
He did well. And the present minister is picking it up.
Hope so.
I think it started with him.
Yes, it did.
The mango thing.
Yeah.
But we have the nicest mangoes in this part of the world.
But hold on, sir.
And we can't even sell it.
Listen now. And when I drove further and reached the College of Agriculture in Pastel Gardens, outside of Port Antonio, they have a research program there with the various varieties of breadfruit. I would want, Prime Minister said we must plant 3 million trees in 3 years or something like that. We would want 3 million trees to plant every year, sir. And most of them to be food-bearing trees, and we need to reach a point where we so produce breadfruit for local consumption and for export. Yes, that we can lower the bill on the flour. We can make a better nutritional, gluten-free diet for people who are susceptible.
I don't know if you know this.
2022 progress.
This climatic situation that we are going through.
Yes, sir.
I have breadfruit tree no bearing all year.
Yes.
I don't know I have a mango tree that is in its 5th crop.
Yes, sir.
For 21.
You see how Jamaica good? Yes.
What the hell has happened where mango used to come in once a year? Mango is coming in 2-3 times a year.
I'm telling you.
And these are not mangoes that you have organized for it.
No.
It's just
Master God.
Just mango must bear.
Yeah.
But Ronnie,
Lord, give me strength.
Ronnie,
another day.
I said to Minister Charles,
yeah.
I hear you want to plant 3 million trees. I don't hear how many of the 3 million are fruit trees.
Well, this is it.
I don't want to hear you just planting trees.
Yeah.
Plant breadfruit, plant mango,
but
so that connect to the exporter and the importer in Canada.
You always tell me about things past. I remember when I started as a farmer in 1976 or so. I could go to Canewood Nursery, I could go to Grove Place, I could go to several other places, and I could get the nicest suckers, whether it was for breadfruit, for soursop, sweetsop, tamarind, yes? And nowadays, it's very difficult unless you go to Denby and find some small nursery. The strong cultivation of planting material is a role of government.
Somebody get lazy.
Yeah. Where can I get 100 East Indian mango seedlings?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been trying.
Yeah.
I am now cutting my breadfruit.
Yeah.
Cut and you get the thing.
The sucker.
I have several breadfruit coming up.
I want to learn in school, and I would, or even at my age, I want to learn how to graft, how to circumpose.
Yes, man.
These are skills.
Yeah, you didn't go to a country school.
No, this is the problem. You see,
when I dropped my knife and turned my sour orange into
sweet orange,
into sweet orange and things.
Man. Yeah. So these are the things that can make life in the diaspora, who we are speaking to, very, very fruitful, both economically and spiritually, socially. And these are the things. This is a substance of the diversification of the economy that Minister Clark has been speaking about. Yes. He's understated, and that's good. But when we see how Omicron, over the time, even the weeks that we have been not together, the holiday week from last week, when we see how the Omicron is putting a dent into the hopes of tourism revival, because it's happening. There's no use saying it isn't.
You're no getting away from
it.
Getting
away from it.
I have a sad one as soon as you finish. Yeah.
But when we see that, we realize how valuable, yet at the same time so fickle as a banana was in the story you gave us. We need, how many more years are we going to toy with the idea that we have to feed ourselves and we have to build our exports, and now running at about 25% of our imports, yes, for food items, in order to be able to do this? The story you tell us about your experience in St. Thomas is a tragic one. It has to be reversed.
It is so tragic, and it's not in St. Thomas. In St. Elizabeth, many of the farmers have just chopped their hands.
Well, this is it. And look what they do to the goat farmers down there. Was it in Westmoreland recently? Yeah. Where they catch them and kill them. Yeah. Yes, apparently to take over the herd of goat that they have. No, if that needs to have serious penalties.
Ronnie, they burned down more. I don't want to tell you how many 100 acres. Yeah. Simple to let the grass grow so they can let go them cow and goat in it.
No, sir. Well,
I mean, you kill a goat.
So why a person do that? What is in their head? What do they see as?
Well, I don't know where you get so much land and they want some.
But then they could have get the small thing, but they don't have to prey upon yours.
No, but let me tell you one. Let me tell you this. This might be sad for you to hear. When the coconut went. Mm-hmm. There were acres and acres and acres.
Lethal yellowing.
Plow it up. Yeah. And call some people and say, come and take a piece of land and plant. Mm-hmm. 2/3 for you, 1/3 for me. Mm-hmm. How many people think here? Boss, give me a piece of the land. Mm-hmm. Now, if you give him a piece of the land, it's not where he wanted to work. And want to be able to sell it, or say him own it, walk on it and him sell it. No, but I don't know. You said something that I need to discuss with you. Back to the teachers.
Yeah.
I am not a man who like to spell bad news or send out bad news, but I am worried. I'm worried about the second or third week of the opening of schools.
Yes, sir.
With this new virus.
Yeah.
I have a problem when some teachers don't have the vaccine.
Yeah.
And they are to teach my children who have the vaccine.
Yeah.
I am uncomfortable.
Yes, sir. I am too.
And I'm uncomfortable about those students who do not get the vaccine to go and sit with those who have the vaccine.
Yeah.
And we cannot put any, I don't want to say, any laws or any strength together to say, look, like when Pearnel Charles was going to Lime Tree Garden, Mama say, you're going to school next week? Come. Take your vaccination. When I attended, Mama take me to school. I was going to the door. The teacher was at the door. Teacher said, give me your vaccination paper before you come in. You could not go in. Your first thing that go to the door was your vaccination paper.
So why we can't do that, sir?
Because of politics.
Well, you see,
because of the politics.
You are the senior politician in this duet, you know.
The lust for power.
Yeah.
Because if the Prime Minister get up tomorrow morning and say, listen, my job, you put me here.
Yeah.
I am to preserve your life.
Yeah.
I want to preserve your life.
Yeah.
And I am saying the top scientists of the world, the top medical practitioners of the world has said to me, take this vaccine and preserve your life.
Yeah.
I am therefore saying to you, you must take it.
Yeah. But then it's happening already. I listened with distress yesterday evening to Senator Floyd Morris, for whom I have respect, who is the opposition spokesman on Labour.
Yes.
Yes. And he is urging government to reverse the back-to-work mandate for public servants. No, Floyd, very respectfully, the position I take is that the workers going back to their work must insist that in their ministries, departments, and agencies, the proper provisions, as best as possible, be instituted. But this idea of working at home, is really not working.
Well, Ronnie, you look at it from a statistical point of view.
Yeah. And the same is for the schools.
It don't work.
Right. So
we are on earth to hear that, and I saw there's a commercial with the lady lay down in our bed, in our pajamas, and is on our computer, and say she not for go to work, but she do the work.
Yes, sir.
It is a mentality that we must get over.
Well, but we, instead of that, we seem to be reinforcing it. But I have a question to ask you.
Yes.
Over the weekend, on the same subject, the news was that in Cuba, nearby Cuba, they have been able to vaccinate almost all of their young people from ages 2 to age 18. Why we can't do that, sir? Why we still a hitch on 25%, even one shot?
Politics.
Well, sir, with the politics have to change.
I went to Cuba to, I think it was Fidel Castro's funeral. And there were 3,000 students who came in, 1,000 at a time. And Ronnie, they came in like soldiers, and they were not marching with guns. They had uniforms. 1,000 came in and sat. They go before the seat, they look left, and when everybody came in, they all sat one time.
So,
then the next thing coming. But what surprises me, when the function was finished, and I was going home, I saw nobody flinging rockstone on the road. Nobody gallivanting, as my father would say. They were walking similarly as they came in groups.
No, and I beg
there's a discipline in that country.
Sure. And I bet you that none of their pants was down at their calf.
Oh,
and their underwear showing.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I didn't know. No. In other words, I had to say to a man the other day, a young man, at one of the high schools, his underpants was 3 inches above his pants. I said, something, what is this? He said, my underpants. No, man, this is your overpants. You know why it called underpants? No. Me say if you don't know, you don't know why it called underpants.
You don't know what the name of under.
It must be under your pants.
Honorable Pearnel Charles Sr., listen, we're taking a break on the bridge, but this is rich discussion, But when let's ask the question: how do we change these circumstances that seem right within our capacity?
We have to bring in some medical and political expert.
Hear what Pearnel says is the politics is keeping it back.
Of course is it.
Is he right? When we come back on the bridge, this is the early rise. Stay tuned. Pearnel Charles and I talking about unity in political purpose, unity facing the vaccines. If all of our economic institutions, the trade unions, the employers, etc., were to come out and say, listen, this is the right way to do it. This is what we recommend to you. It must make a difference if our political leaders were to stand together and to do this, and not worry about who may malice them and not vote for them. What a difference it would make. Come on now, Jamaica. 2022 has to be different. We have a telephone caller. Soon come back. Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Charles and Thwaites.
Good morning, sir.
New Year's greetings and blessings to you both and all the best.
And thank you. Very same to you.
So I'm calling yet again from New York City in the subway.
Yeah, man. Our subway caller. We're going to give you a name.
Okay, good. Mr. Charles, I have a question for you. You mentioned about the Eastern Banana project. Who was Prime Minister at the time when you made a suggestion to that Prime Minister, and he did not
agree?
Agree, yeah. Who was the Prime Minister then?
You hear what he's asking?
No.
He's asking who was the Prime Minister when you made that petition about Eastern Banana to guarantee their money?
I think it was Mr. Siago was the Prime Minister.
Okay, your own leader.
Yes. I mean, it wasn't a question of leader. He was willing to go, but the company was not willing to take a third year of hurricane because they said that they were paying this massive insurance. And I said, PM, let us pay the insurance. They guarantee them the insurance.
Yeah.
Right? And they said, no, we've gone 2 years like that, and we have a flat note, and we have alternative investment. Now, I understand.
That was Jamaica
no
producers.
hurricane came since that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I find hard to understand how they would say no when they're not the one who is gonna underwrite the risk. Is the Prime Minister government of Jamaica that was gonna guarantee or against the disaster if it should come?
Subway caller, I don't doubt it. You know and because the power of the corporate power and the change of plans, as I remember the time.
Yes.
They simply decided that there wasn't enough money in bananas, no matter what subsidy they got from government.
No, on this occasion,
Yeah.
they were blown down 1 year.
Yeah, we got it.
And they had to pay high.
Yeah.
They blow down the second year.
But you're insuring. He's asking you insure them the third year,
Exactly.
and them still say no.
No, that's a no.
But then,
you know,
who is in control?
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted because here's my thing again. We're always asking government to do this and government to do
Well, you
that.
could force him, you really can't force a man to invest his money if he says, look, I have better alternatives.
No, but I'm going to come in here, Subway caller and Pearnel, because private property is a constitutional right. Yes, and you want to encourage private sector investment, and yes, you can't force them. But at some point, there has to be a notion of the common good. And the fact is that Eastern St. Thomas has been decimated by the abandonment of the banana industry there. No, which is a higher value, which is a greater good.
Come closer, Ronnie. 3,000 workers have just lost their thing
yes, sir.
because of the closing of the sugar factory.
So if those,
the banana closed, and sugar factory closed. And you have 5,000 people.
No, you can't keep subsidizing bankrupt industries, huh? Whether sugar or cane or banana. But at some point, the issue of the common good has to be preeminent. And I'm claiming that in our economic system in Jamaica, and in the political manifestation that draws out of that, we submerge and suppress the common good more often than not, and that is why 2/3 of our people live in subsistence. What you say, caller?
And you're absolutely correct. But let me say this to you. I mean, on the issue of guarantor, the United States government, country where I live, does that so often, not only with businesses or entities in this country, but with other countries.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure Jamaica have gotten loans that is backed by the full faith and guarantor of the United States.
Yeah.
And I tell you this, agriculture in America, of which Jamaicans love so much of it, is subsidized by the U.S. government. And would you believe that even, you may not even know this, but I say this to you, that the food stamp program that we have here is a part of the subsidy to agriculture because it actually goes to the agricultural sector.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways in which agriculture is subsidized in this country and guaranteed by the United States government because you know the benefits of it to feed your people and export.
Well,
I don't understand how government could be making an offer to an entity so vital to Jamaica for feeding and for export, and you turn it down.
No, but it isn't. We do not have that same commitment. in Jamaica. We really believe that the thing to do is that it's quite all right to depress agriculture, because at the end of the day, somebody will import enough to feed us. I came across that as a minister of government. Mr. Charles can share with me. But when I tried to make sure that the school feeding program was comprised of Jamaican grown products, yes, I was completely defeated by the agricultural sector. The late Roger Clark told me it would take many years for there to be enough produce. I was astounded. And secondly, the importers, the import sector of the economy, were lining up at the door of the ministry and saying how quickly they could bring in and what value they would, how much cheaper they could do it. And therefore, what you ended up with is 97% of all of the food that Jamaicans give to school picnic is imported food.
No, you line up because you have a clash of capitalism and poverty.
A clash.
Yes, the man who can bring it in is going to make money.
Yeah.
And
I'm offered to give you some too.
Yeah.
My God.
If him don't give him have to give you some to survive.
All right, caller, how you see that?
And the back man, the back.
We telling you true story, you know.
What is the fact, man? We've been there.
It's a clash of interest, and also those who are politically connected. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, and that was so obvious, blatantly obvious with the chicken business.
Yes.
The chicken business. Well, let me just say something quickly, sir. Regarding you, Mr. Thwaites, mentioned earlier on that you went to Kingston School, you didn't learn how to soak up.
Didn't know how to graft. Yeah.
Well, Don't. What's the word? Don't be disappointed, because I tell you this.
Yeah.
A tale of two cousins, myself and my cousin.
Yes.
I was raised in the country. The country is that Mr. Top can represent.
Okay.
Rural
St. Catherine.
Rural. You're just 1% rural.
Uh-huh.
And then I got common entrance to go to a technical school in St. Catherine again.
Uh-huh.
Now, agricultural-based technical school. And my cousin went to a Kingston, Spanish Town, close to Kingston.
Yeah.
I never learned or even saw grafting or circumposing, what do you call it?
At the technical school.
Where I grew up.
Yeah.
And farming was my life. But he learned it at his school. He learned agriculture at his school.
Really? Whoa.
Yes. And I did not.
It's contradictory.
Exactly. I don't know, because it was a norm. We don't have to do those things because we have the fruits.
Yeah.
And we don't have to circumpose this to get that because we have. I don't know, but they did. And I never did. And I tell you something again on this agricultural thing. Don't be fooled. Agriculture is not sexy because, again, I stayed away from doing agriculture in high school. Why? Because of my experience. I didn't see how sugar cane and cocoa and dasheen and banana, which is the way I grew up.
Yeah.
That was laborious for me to get away from, to go to high school. It was a getaway from that. I could never go back to high school and do agriculture when I went from agriculture. Kind of sexy. I didn't see how it was going to get me out. I didn't see how it was going to benefit me. And I tell you this, I have schoolmates, and students at my high school that I went, did agriculture. They ended up not being in agriculture. A lot of them became policemen. And in banking, to this day, I have two batchmates who are in the United States. One's a doctor, in agriculture, and one is a Citibank banker.
Yeah.
So agriculture is not sexy.
But eating is sexy.
People don't see it is sexy. I tell you this. Eating callaloo and banana and cocoa and dasheen and burping in Jamaica is not sexy. So come to America, come to New York, it is sexy.
Yes. Look at that. No, my God. Boy, listen to what you've just said. If that which you rejected as being poor man food now becomes a gourmet fare.
Yes.
When you are up there and cola bite you.
Chicken back and fried roast breakfast. Chicken back and overnight food, overnight cocoa and dasheen and dumplings fried. It's carrying the swing. I say this to say to you is where people are, because the very same people I'm telling you right now, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And many of us here are one of them.
Yeah.
We come here, and the very thing that I crave in Jamaica here.
You know, take it.
When I come here, this is in abundance. I don't want it.
You don't want it.
Sir,
you want the birthday and dashing and the cocoa and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where are you calling from?
The subway in New York City.
New York City.
You're in the Harlem area?
No, I'm in Brooklyn.
In where?
Brooklyn.
In
Brooklyn. You know 127th Street and Broadway in Harlem?
You're speaking to
yes, I know.
You're driving to a former cab driver.
A graduated taxi driver. A turned minister of government.
Sir, they used to, that's a massive, Ronnie, this should this is a massive slaughtering house at 127th Street.
Yeah.
And
really?
Right? And when I was driving cab, I dropped a Jamaican man there. Him saying, kill cow over there. I said, boy, what him doing? Him take foot. Him say, boy, hundreds of foot. Them just dash a cow foot, dash a cow tail, dash everything. So I show up one morning, and I get about 10 cow foot.
You could have reached.
Hold on. I didn't have the time for burn and scrape like we do in Jamaica. So we just cut and strip.
Yeah.
Man, you talking, we chop up a few of them. You cook one time.
Yeah.
Ronnie, I was telling somebody about it. I said, go around there. I said, you cause problems. So what happened?
So you
after 2 years,
you add value.
For you to get a cow foot, you have to spend so much money.
Yeah.
Cow foot, everything is for sale.
I hear caller that they're trying to breed a cow with two tail now because oxtail takes.
No. You. I'm glad, Mr.
Charles, give you that.
Oxtail is the most expensive dish right now.
Look at that.
I mean,
Sir, before you go, I want to just tell you something. The Jamaican man. He'll do it if he can get money. But he wants the money before the thing is produced.
Oh, that can work.
But Ronnie, you and I know that man is saying him not going to get enough money for that.
Yes.
And him not going to get dry out 1 year and fat out one next year. Him want to fat out every year. Now, the little country farmer man have a plant. Because him can't buy.
No.
So I'm putting enough just for him farm, children, little corn, little potato, two like a bank of yam, 2 plant.
Up in Northwest,
and he can take and picnic them. You understand it? And him go down and market and he can buy like a thing.
We have to change the culture.
But I tell you, Ronnie, it comes back to Kingston, where the big boys are. And until you have like the Grace Kennedys and the Sephards get a few thousand acres, like what Siaga started, Agro 21, where airplane land and carry fruits and things go abroad, and the small farmers start to plant, and the big man take it and go sell for him. You're not, and I tell you when to spray, when to mold, when to.
I would love to see. Let's be practical now. In order to meet the export demand, people like yourself, in order to meet local needs first and foremost. Why do we have promises to revive the Agricultural Marketing Corporation every year from whichever Minister of Agriculture, and it can't happen? 1. And 2, this periodic fever and distress that affects RADA, the Rural Agricultural Development Agency, which is the aid to farmer. We waste of time. Here, Pearnel Charles saying that.
Ronnie,
no,
have you read?
Those 2 things we can do right now, this is, hello, it's a 2022 agenda, me a look.
You know, see what the minister is having problem with?
Yeah.
The minister is having problem because he wants an active board.
Yeah.
He has plans.
But him a point about 3 board and him can't get one function. How that go?
You see?
Yeah. Anyway, caller, we understand your point here.
Yeah, well, one last thing though.
Yeah, man.
Does Jamaica agricultural products to the United States? Is it tariff? They get preferential treatment. Is it tariff free?
Yes, most of it.
Most of it.
We have pre-clearance facilities that are being offered, and
banana and sugar excluded, right?
Yeah.
Long time.
Everything, we could do so much with what the United States has given to us, and we look upon it, we say nice, and we don't take advantage of it. What damn foolishness is that? So we can't carry on that in the new year, you know.
One last thing. So you have an organization here in New York, Jamaican, led by Jamaican, who's doing a project in Jamaica called Farm Up Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
Have you heard of it?
No.
Yes, Farm Up Jamaica, Jamaican in New York.
Yes.
Who is right now on the ground for a number of years now in Jamaica. All you need to just go online and do.
Okay. I believe I heard about some man in Trelawney.
FarmUpJamaica.org.
Yes.
And they're doing stuff with more emphasis on organic.
Okay.
Which is really Jamaica now with farm anyway.
Yes, yes.
And so you do have people who are not just consumers here, but who are interested in farming in Jamaica and doing that. So forth and so forth. So, you know. Well, quickly, Mr. Thwaites, Mr. Charles, when last have you been to 127th and Broadway?
When last you go 127th?
Well, I tell you something, I'm due to go up there because I have been given the privilege to go back to City College.
Okay.
To make a contribution to give them my books.
Okay, good.
I've written 4 books, and I'm going to provide to the library. It is because of this virus. I haven't been there.
Haven't been yet.
But I would like to understand that there's no more Harlem. There are only high-rise buildings.
Well, let me say this to you. The reason why I asked this question is, let's give a little heads up. At 127th and Column, at 127th and Broadway.
Yes.
It's all a massive project taken over by Columbia University.
That's I understand. Pure high rise, huh?
Correct.
Nice hearing from you. Say if you see any of the former graduates, tell them I'm still around.
Keep us in your mind. Look forward to your listenership. Thanks so much for your call.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right, good.
Ronnie, I was surprised last night when I read Mr. Harris' presentation.
Yes, sir.
And I discovered that me and you wasting time.
Yes. Mr. Harris is the father of Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States.
And Mr. Harris is a professor of economics, who Jamaica has just given Order of Merit.
Yes.
The next highest thing to
the
national hero.
The third highest in the country.
Okay.
One above me.
And indeed. And the man says no, that is the government holding back the development of Jamaica.
Listen what the man said.
I wanted to ask you about it.
Listen what the man said that have me nervous from that.
Yes, sir. Nervous you call it. Me vex.
Ronnie, Bartlett is bringing in millions or thousands of tourists. What are they eating?
Yeah.
Foreign food.
Yes, sir.
Every farmer in Jamaica, if we were put together, and somebody was managing them like Rada, we would know how many cabbage, other vegetables,
everything
that the tourists need.
Yes.
We, the farmers in Jamaica, would be rich.
Yes, sir.
The more tourists come, the more they will plant. Some is going on. But I think, I don't know what, maybe if even 3/4 of what food is being used in the hotels has to be imported.
Yeah.
When we have lands, as I told you, go down Spur Tree Drive to Westmoreland.
Sure, sir. I know that. And when I sat in Parliament, I was encouraging the linkage. Yes?
Yeah.
The Linkages Council, it's called. Mr. Adam Stewart, I believe, is appointed chairman. Okay? And it is there, but it is a pale shadow of what it should be.
Oh, yes.
Yes? Now, this is where we want to go in 2022. I don't know what the other people who in the Fourth Estate are saying, but we on this program and on this station have to promote, the growth of agriculture for export, and the tourist sector is part of export.
The tourist, Ronnie, even if we weren't sending away $1 worth of food, we are not providing enough food for tourists. And most tourists come to Jamaica to get some Jamaica food.
Of course.
Get some round leaf.
In another iteration, when we reincarnate, Pearnel Charles is going to be the Minister of Agriculture, and Ronnie Thwaites will be his junior minister. Oh,
you hear how long the junior take to come out?
No. I know my place. But
Ronnie,
no, seriously.
The truth is that our farmers could be rich if they had the guidance. They know when to spray, when to
And if they could get some credit.
Plant.
Remember we talked about that? Get some credit. Some crop lien and some credit. You can't get nothing.
Ronnie, you get the crop lien, you provide the food, you sell it, and money go on.
Yeah.
It's a revolving. You don't have to put a dollar. But somebody has to be in charge.
Of course.
They cannot lead themselves. That is the problem.
Yes. And this is why I want us to be always practical. We need an agricultural marketing corporation to provide this leadership. We need to get the strongest technical and administrative managerial talent available in Jamaica in order to do this. I was ashamed to read Professor Harris's comments yesterday.
Me too.
Yeah? First of all,
I said, but this man.
But if him get this, we don't want him to be untruthful. But if he, as reported, no, maybe he said more than this, or his tone we can't pick up from the words in the press.
Yes.
But the country just give you a big honor. You start talking them kind of thing right away.
But the truth is this.
Manners.
No, but the truth is this. The truth is this. And I don't mean unto them, man.
Yeah.
And I mean something. The man is saying the truth.
All right. So
we ought not to have such a massive tourist industry.
And we don't
so many hotels.
Okay.
So many people looking food. And our farmer cannot be guided as to how to provide food for the tourists who come here for some Jamaican food.
So we see Audley picture enjoying New Year's Eve. That's nice, good. But we have to say to Audley now, come now, what you can do on this thing, because he knows it. He's an experienced public
and
servant.
he's also a public man, you know. I went, you know, surprising people saying Charles, everything unite. I went to New York to recruit the show.
Where's that so now?
I recruited him and bring him back here.
Him and your son
Mr.
too.
Siaga sent me for him.
Well, now look at that.
And he
that
has done well.
Yeah, so that takes us to the next subject now. What about this cabinet reshuffle? Who is your
No,
pick?
I can't tell you about that.
Bridge listeners, Bridge Nation, Pearnel Charles Hitch.
no man, Pearnel Charles.
And I understand
Pearnel Charles know that there are certain things him don't know until it happen.
Until it happen.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and it's a fact.
Yeah, well, I want to state
I don't know if there's going to be a cabinet reshuffle.
Well,
I have heard of
Prime
many.
Minister says there is. There will be, and there seems to be some public emphasis. Unfortunately, it isn't nearly as strong because the majority of people just troops their teeth and say, no better herring, no better barrel. But I do think that, and I have high regard for Minister Audley Shaw,
yes.
But I don't think his health really allows him to be as activist a minister as he used to be, one. And two, to combine agriculture with industry and commerce is beyond the management capacity of any one individual.
But don't I hear you say you're advising the Prime Minister and reshuffle?
Well, the thing is this: a cabinet reshuffle ought to be. It is not, but it ought to be a national consideration, not a popular vote. It's his choice, but it ought to have more of a national concern than it does. Yes, I disagree with the Westminster model that allows a Prime Minister to be a virtual dictator of his cabinet.
Yes, stop right there and let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Here is it that we have a system where you present a manifesto. Mm-hmm. You say what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. The people say, you present one, I present one. Yeah. The people say they prefer my manifesto, which set out what I'm going to do.
Yeah. What name
the
manifesto,
people elect me.
What name manifesto?
The book what we write and say what we're going to do if you elect me and
then,
put me up
and
there.
then we don't even put the book on the shelf.
No. I thought you were going to say the same manifesto come every year.
Every year. And nobody will follow it once election done.
But hear me. What I am saying, at that stage,
yes, sir,
I have been elected based on what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And you, after I'm elected, you say I must go back to the people and ask them if I'm to do it.
No, I say...
And I that is why I am a dictator.
Yeah, you are
because
a dictator.
If I said to you, this is what I'm going to do, elect me if you want me to do it.
Yeah.
You elect me.
And when you
what the hell am I going? I must go ahead and do it.
And when you not do it, what?
You throw me out. Our system give you the right.
What it is, your kingdom gone to waste?
But Ronnie, the system that we operate gives us a right to be re-examined every 5 years.
Yes, sir.
If we have performed as we say we're going to do.
5 years is a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. But I want stability.
But they re-elect you.
I want stability in government.
They re-elect us. It's a longer time.
But my point is that we need a more collaborative system, and it is important in the choice of a cabinet that you get the best talent. Now, I believe that best talent has to have two characteristics. One, a responsiveness to the people. Yes, I don't believe in this business that you get the biggest businessman and put him in charge, biggest housing developer and put him in charge of housing. I don't accept that. He has to have some connection. There is reason why in our constitution the finance minister has to be a member of parliament, because that grounds him. Yes, but capacity, yes, proven capacity.
Why is it that the minister has to be?
Because then he has a link with the people. He can't simply carry out fiscal policies. Monetary policies.
All ministers should have a link with the people.
Well, grant you, but therefore you have to make sure that people are representative, maybe in the House, maybe in the Senate, okay, yes. Or certainly approved by the House and the Senate, yes, as they do in the American iteration, where you have these two characteristics. One, that you have a proven, genuine interest in the welfare of all the people, not in just one sector.
Yes.
And secondly, that you have the capacity, you have the experience, you have the knowledge that are going to allow you to carry out that portfolio.
And that is why there is room to bring in some non-partisan people in the Senate.
Yes.
And
that was the intention.
But I'm looking at it again. Let us say Prime Minister Ronnie Thwaites was approached by opposition leader Pearnel Charles. Mm. And I said, Mr. Thwaites, let's put something together. Mm-hmm. Let's put the 2/3 balance in the Senate in the hand of the private sector. Mm-hmm. That means there will be two persons in the government side and at least one in the opposition side representing the private sector, which means not just a businessman.
No, I was going to ask you.
Not just a businessman, but maybe a professor. Maybe Mr. Harris.
Maybe a person who.
Maybe a pastor.
Yes.
And I read something from a reverend man the other day. I got to cut it out, right? But in other words, what I'm saying that the balance in the Senate could be partisan, but when it comes to important matters,
you broaden it. Well,
no. The 2/3 would always.
I follow your point.
Balance.
I will be willing to discuss that. There are points for and against, because I don't know that persons who can pick up and go the next day are the people I want to provide that balancing element. But it is true that given it, what your suggestion does is to concede to the rabid tribalism and partisanship that needs to have an escape valve, as you wish, with that. And I'm not sure I like that. But
I like the word escape valve, because I want to say to you, how can you have 14 to 14, is it 14 to what, 42?
49 to 14.
Right. And you lose in the Senate.
Yeah.
In other words, the elected group of people put you in a major...
But then
the Senate...
We need a break. But in the big United States, Mr. Charles, yes? You have one man now who holding up the whole thing. And then you have a filibuster, which prevents, even if whatever it is...
No, but there's worse than that. What the United States is doing is what they used to kill us for doing.
Well, thank you, sir. This is the early rise on the Bridge Nation. We don't skin up with anybody, we're just talking like how Pearnel and I see it, for the good of the people. Yes, if you don't agree, give us a call now, 876-676-4996. The early rise will soon come. Pearnel and myself and all of those who we're talking to in the diaspora and the subway and everywhere, yes, is that this is the year of constructive development. This is the year when we're going to make a difference, yeah? And that's the key of what we try and do. We were speaking about Professor Harris, And you made the point that he he is absent enough at a level that he doesn't have to squeeze his words. He speaks the truth.
Yes.
All right, I agree. I want to just apply it to our local situation and ask for your thoughts, because there are two squabbles going on in our midst now that I'm hoping can come to an end. One is the issue of between former Prime Minister Golding and former Minister Derek Smith, colleagues of yours and of mine. We need to put down that now. They need to follow your example.
No, I think that I am guessing.
Yeah.
But I hope that my guess is right, and there's some reason why I guess.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't see any more of that.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I hope my guessing has some support.
Some basis. Okay. Well, and I know your
there,
relationship.
There are other things, that can be said.
Okay.
That will not be said or give people an impression.
No.
We don't need that now.
No. And there are some people who are saying, but why you're not transparent? Listen to you, Ronnie, and you, Pearnel, that try to cover up something. We need exposure. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. All of that is foolishness. It is true in one sense, but in this instance, the good of the country and the regard that we have for those persons is not advanced by going over this version of history. Okay? So we agree on that one, and I hope your informed guess is correct.
I'm in full agreement, because there are things that I could say.
Yes.
That it's not necessary to say.
Read chapter 4 of your book.
Well,
or have said.
I think you're doing an advertisement for me,
and I would be glad to do that, sir.
Yeah, well,
but the hold on now, and it is not a question of trying to brush things under the carpet. It is a question of your speech. Yes, what is it? Ephesians speaks about say things only that are going to help men to live better.
Yes.
I'll quote the scriptures one morning for you fully. The other one, though, sir, is what is going on at the University of the West Indies, where the report in the press yesterday says that there is an impasse, the French people say impasse, between the Chancellor, Mr. Bermudez from Trinidad, and the Vice Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles. And there is, this thing is a thing that is going on now. It is apparently affecting the administration of the university, which is in a terrible financial state, but which is critical. Its health and its integrity, its pedigree is critical to the development of the country and indeed the West Indies as a whole. It's the University of the West Indies. And this bit about having a committee to look into the behavior of the Chancellor, or the other one to look into the behavior of the Vice Chancellor. Look here, there comes a point where una better sit down and work out on things rather than broad it out in a way that is going to mean the loss of the very pedigree of the university, which has grown so much that it's world class now. And what you go dash it away.
Personality. You want to move to family, Ronnie. You are a family man. I know more about you than you think I know. Right? And I think you know more about me than I think you do. I will say this. One of the pledges that Laura and I had was that we will never have a dispute before the children. That some would be crying and hugging up mama, and some crying and hugging up dada.
Yes, sir.
We thank God. And I can hold up, and anybody who want to can investigate. For 52 years, we have never had a dispute that any of our children would say mama and daddy quarreling.
Well,
right?
Thank God for that.
It didn't come easy.
No.
Because I am not,
No.
you know what I mean?
You're not that easy, man.
I'm not the best of men. However, However, I can tell you that we have never had, call it a public dispute, that any child, that any of my 7 children can say, Mommy and Daddy has quarreled or fight once.
Well,
never.
You know, thank God for that, and thank God for the both of you. But when we elevate that now to national level, or
that's
to
what I'm trying to say.
Yes, indeed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
When the two leaders can start a dispute like that, first you're going to split the school either in 2/3, 1/3, or half.
Exactly.
Because people are going to come behind you, and quarrel going to start below. And several people going to quarrel because of that.
Yeah, but then when you see, I didn't have your opportunity to sit in the speaker's chair, but when I sit down in the back bench, and I listen to what goes on in Parliament, I referred to Parliament in a article I wrote in the Gleaner this morning as having self-imposed uselessness. Because much of the quarrel, much of the discourse that goes on there, and not the same thing, there is no pledge between one side and the other. Yes? Elevating your principle now in your family to that level. We consider it to be necessary, indeed, part of the system. Yes?
And more than one occasion.
Foolishness.
On more than one occasion, I sent a note. Asking the two leaders to come behind the desk.
And meet and sort out. Good. And
sort out the thing.
Good.
Because guess what? Diaspora is looking. They're watching us. They call and say, what the hell is happening? Why you guys making us embarrassed?
If we really were to act jointly and purposefully, and people begin to see the results, whether it is about crime, whether it is about corruption, whether it is about education or health or economic development. The remittances of $2 billion plus a year could double, you know, sir.
Not only that, but hear this now. It's as if you are saying, I'm waiting for him because he must make a mistake. And I am saying, I'm waiting for him because I'm going to make him make a mistake. The point is, we have never been able to go in the corner and say, look here, the world is watching us. This is our country. Let us formulate a plan that somebody is going to feel proud of. And we're going to move forward.
So when we're coming up now to the part of the year, this is January, by March, we're going to have the budget debate. And the budget debate becomes a gladiator struggle. Yes? Between the Romans and the barbarians in the Colosseum. Rather,
I don't know.
What is the use of that?
I don't know which name fit my side.
What is the use of that? How does that advance Jamaica? If you tell me that it is good to have contrasting views in order to come to a common policy, of course I agree with you.
Yeah, but stop right there. We have contrasting views, and we express our contrasting views in order to mobilize for the defeat of one side or the other.
So, if to do that, I have to betray the very principle for which motivated me to get involved in the first case, assuming I never just come into it to scrape out something for myself. If the system encourages me to do that, yes, what is the basis of it? How you can continue to justify that after 60 years of effort? This coming up to hello, this is 2022, Pearnel.
I have been on both.
We cannot go on this.
I have been on both sides.
Me too.
I have sat on the opposition. And it's as if you're waiting for the government to make a little mistake.
Of course.
So you can jump in and slaughter them. So you go outside on the platform and say, them no good, them can't do this, vote for me.
Even the way the
but the system, Paul.
Even the way the speaker.
Ronnie, the system.
Yes, the system, sir. So and the system, one hand cannot change the system. The system has to be changed jointly. So we are saying, on the basis of our experience now, listen up, Bridge Nation. We are saying that we have to do it differently. I can say that the very way we organize the budget debate, yes,
Yes.
is another gladiator struggle that is there. The leader of the opposition speaks, and then the Prime Minister has to hurry up and answer everything that the leader of the opposition said. Call him a damn fool without using those words. And then hopefully the great triumph and great big ups and forwards and all.
And we hit the road same time to say who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
And the press, those of us, very often we fall into the trap. And we go in because we're looking something, or because the rush of strength and apparent power is so compelling, so seductive that we don't resist it.
I'm doing a little survey.
All right, so.
And I want to invite you to assist me.
Oh.
How many negative headlines the press has had from January to December, and how many positive headlines?
Right.
In other words, how many things that they say, bravo.
Yeah.
This is something that the country wants, and work with it.
Yeah.
And how many they are cutting down, chopping up, throwing away.
Yeah, but you see,
even at that level, somebody told me that the press is not here to say something positive.
No.
Is that true?
Well, it depends on what the press is. If the press is owned by a special interest, I expect them to defend it. There's one newspaper in Jamaica which is clearly that. There's a place for that. But the fact is that you always are going to be looking for which side supports, which comment supports what side. Unless you have a fundament of collaboration to recognize that the main enterprise is not my minister, am I being in this ministry or being in parliament, but rather the enterprise called Jamaica. And that at the end of the day, no matter how much money you make or how poor you are, unless we all find some kind of cause, yes, common cause. It can't work.
But let me tell you something frightening. I am satisfied, and I'm a political science student.
Yes, sir.
I am not going further than that.
Yes, sir.
I am satisfied that the system that we operate now will never accommodate what we are saying here.
Hey, I really hope this program is being recorded. You know, did you hear what the Honorable Pearnel Charles just said?
Ronnie, how is it going to when you and I, you are over there, you are seeking for me to make a mistake so that you can cut me down.
Cut you down.
And I am seeking to keep you cut down.
You busting your
so that I can be the big man.
Yes. But that is, but
is there a system
there is,
where both of us can decide that?
Sure.
Have you think that Mr. Holness and Mr. Golden can talk like me and you?
No.
And get up and say to the people, look, we both agree on this.
But they should.
So therefore, there is no need for me to say, run with that because I can't do it. And they say, run to this because I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So
the political system that we operate is one that says that.
Yes. So let us change that then, because in the longer run, in the medium run, it serves nobody's. It serves nobody's end. It certainly doesn't serve the needs of the common good, and it invites the contempt. It invites the distance that the majority of our people have about it. Now, I'm not asking them to love politics or politicians, but I'm saying to them that it is that system which, in fact, is spending your money and is determining what quality of education you get or don't get, what quality of health care, yes, you get or don't get.
You remember last week I asked you, just let us see if we can put together a program.
Yes.
Where we can invite all of the listeners to take the pressure off the police and the Prime Minister when it comes to crime. Where do you put it? Every man dead is Andrew.
Well,
and every man is police that kill him. Every man that the police have to shoot.
Have to shoot.
It is said that the police wicked because the police put a gun upon him. Although, look at this man.
I'm not saying everyone, but some of them do. Some of the police are murderers. That I'm sure of.
Well, I am going to.
Yes. I'm willing to go with you, you know.
Hold on.
But I'm not willing to give them a free pass because I know.
Hold on. H.L. Shearer got himself into difficulty because he said, don't read the
Beatitudes.
The Beatitudes.
Yes.
Ronnie, let me tell you something. I think I am brave.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a police.
No, not do that, and I understand.
Me telling you
we
what the
up.
police has to face in central Kingston.
Yes, we set them up for that, and I'm not condemning every instance, but I am saying that.
I'm glad you said.
In many cases.
In some cases.
And they are not accountable.
Yeah.
Yes, Bruce Golding, I had some role in the COM legislation, but that is not strong enough, and it has been eroded, and there are those others who want to erode it even further, and that is tyranny you are institutionalizing. But let's go back to it. What we need to do is to look at areas where we can have more collaboration, and if we have a hopelessly contested system, it cannot work.
No. If we have a hopelessly contested system, we need somebody to assist. And that is why I say, get back to the Senate, where that 2/3 can defeat any government that is below with a major presentation.
Okay, and that's all I would want to do is to go further than that, because that is.
Where would you like to go?
I want to go to a system of proportional representation. Proportional representation
in the Senate.
In all areas of government.
Well,
parish council, House of Representatives.
Tell me one country that's operating proportional representation.
I know. I'm arguing a principle. I can give you instances, but the important coalition governments which reflect pretty much that. Germany is a prime example right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There are many others. In fact, it is enormous if you looked at it worldwide of the number of political parties that gain a majority, yes, but still have to ally with others in order to be able to create some kind of common cause. Not necessarily always for virtue, but that is the order of it. And you take away the sharpness of the winner take all.
All right, so therefore
we have to wrap up.
Yeah, but 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Take the Cuban government as is. They are going to say all persons must be vaccinated and all persons will be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Take the American government that they can say.
Yeah.
And one is democracy.
Yeah. No, one called democracy. Yes. Well, more on that another time. We have
we're going to talk about
big philosophy on early rise. Thanks so much to LaFane Wisdom, LaFane Wigan, our producer, technical operator Richie Rainford, switcher Romy, Sean Audley, and entire production team. Richie B comes up with Up and Go just now. Join us again tomorrow at 5 a.m. with Pearnel, Charles, and myself for Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Many blessings.